This is the Jugo, and welcome back. This is where we actually explore biblical wisdom to help modern men grow in their faith, their leadership, and brotherhood. But before we get there, we're also the #1 multiracial platform on all the charts. What charts? All of them. But as we know, we have to crawl before we walk, so we're gonna take a step in focusing on some hot takes. We got an internet deep dive, and we're gonna bring it home where we're actually gonna break down some really interesting parables. So stay with us. We got so much to dive into. Let's get into it.
Dude, every episode I look so glossy. That's just because I have good skin moisture retention.
There you go. Got a skin routine.
Okay, I've noticed that we've started off every episode by taking a sip of something.
Well, listen, don't fail us now.
Okay.
But it's usually yours. Yours is in a Celsius.
I know. It feels weird not having a Celsius, but we're going to push through.
Okay.
We are going to push through, and where are we starting at?
Hot takes.
See, we're starting off with some hot takes. Oh, we're starting off with some hot takes, but we have some breaking news. And this is what is so fun about doing the podcast, not docking episodes, but doing it
For sure.
like a week in advance.
Yeah.
So 2 days ago, and I don't know if you've seen this in the news. Maybe you have. 2 days ago, Liver King, all right? Homie just came out with his Netflix debut. Did you see the documentary?
No.
So it's a documentary about like just everything as a whole. It seems that the documentary going into it, he thought it was one thing, but it was clearly like an expose almost, because he's just like living his life. It shows a snip of him. He has cattle.
Yeah.
Pulls out a sniper and like, does he do that? Yeah, he does. He shoots the bull, and that, like, him and his family, his whole family, they run up to it and they kill it. Like he says a prayer. He's like, "Thank you, brother," and then shoves the knife, and then they cut the liver out and start eating it.
Whoa.
Insane. That's like mentally something's not there.
That's like a promo video that's like not real.
Right.
But it was.
But it was a promo video because there was a dude standing in front of him with his phone just like this. So it's all for.
Oh, it's for the like shares
and so you see a little bit in the documentary. You're like, something's a little off. Like something has gone.
Or the show.
No, him.
Got it.
A wire has gone loose because also in the documentary they mentioned that he has his business, which is like something, or he provides natural supplements. Blah blah blah. He's a multi-millionaire, which I didn't know that. Multi-millionaire. So something between him starting that business and all the controversy that has happened, a wire went loose because 2 days ago, he's like posting these crazy messages on X or on Instagram or something. And he's like, "I'm going to make them pay. Joe Rogan, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to fight you. You've never seen the hands of a man that has nothing to lose. I'm untrained, but I have desperation."
What did Joe do?
I don't know. He didn't have him on his podcast. I guess. I don't know. I'm not in his mind. Like, I can't get in his line of thinking. He's like Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Plate for this guy. Yeah.
He's like, "I'm going to make him pay." And then.
Him too?
So he's like calling out these people that called him out and I started, I guess, the controversy. So he thinks that he's going to like get redemption.
What's the controversy? That he does steroids?
He does steroids, which everyone already knew.
I mean,
everyone already knew. I'm like, if you thought he was natural, then you got.
You're foolish. You think of from eating liver?
Right. You think that you're going to look like that at 40 years old? Anyways, he's hosting these videos. He's like, he has this box. He's like, "I have a present for Joe Rogan."
Okay.
And so he goes with his family to a hotel, the Four Seasons in downtown.
That's a nice hotel.
He is stalking. That is a nice hotel. He is stalking Rogan to the point to where Rogan caught wind of it, or someone on his team caught wind of it.
Okay.
They called the FBI. They're like, "Hey, this dude's talking crazy," like some threats or whatever.
But how they got an FBI hotline?
Right.
You big time.
Right.
But go ahead.
And this is all a legend. It's a legend. This is a legend.
Okay.
So he's hunting Rogan or whatever, and he comes out of his hotel, and then FBI is like there, and they pick him up. They arrest him, and I think they're charging him for like active terrorism. Is that what active terrorism? And also, I'm assuming for like attempted murder, possibly, because he's over here
premeditated.
He's over here saying, "I'm gonna snap up Joe Rogan."
Yeah.
And Rogan's not the one to. I mean, first of all, he already has armed security
For sure.
but that was just crazy breaking news.
Yeah.
That's like in development right now.
Okay.
I thought we'd start off did that because it's not necessarily a hot take.
It's, but it's almost a convicted criminal.
Right.
Almost.
And I was thinking on the ride over here, I'm like, we could tie this into your enemies. How should we step to those who
Transition.
transgress against us? Not like liberty.
Euro.
Not like liberty. Okay, so our first hot take we're looking at, and this is perfect for this week, this season, because we were talking about this before the pod. It's about hustle culture. So is hustle culture just an insecurity in disguise? So we want to look at the emphasis behind, I guess, just as some context, hustle culture meaning you're like, think of Gary Vee. Like always going. Why are you stopping? There's still more that needs to be done.
Okay.
I've just talked for like 15 minutes. So what do you think about hustle culture? What do you think about hustle culture?
Well, you were talking stories, so I feel like I can't like interrupt you mid-story. That's interesting. Hustle culture. I think hustle culture, I think it's just a term used for like the American culture,
Interesting.
to be honest. Because
Interesting.
I just feel like in the American culture, we just have this ideology of like always have to go. This is where the term keeping up with the Joneses comes into play.
Yeah.
And like always need to, you're always chasing that next dollar sign, that next promotion. And I feel like not until you truly like either stop and pause in the moment to realize like, I don't want to be a part of the rat race, or like you go outside of the country, you don't realize like how much the hustle culture is like affecting people. Because I personally, I mean, I've told you where it was what 2 years ago when we went to Puerto Rico, where like the entire summer, like I completely was able to be in the moment and like have gratitude for literally everything that we have, and just notice that culture just thrive in the aspect of they don't think about that. They don't have a hustle culture.
Yeah.
And it was they're on island time.
Yeah.
And it's just about so much of, there's just a lot of gratitude and love and all that type of stuff. But like, it wasn't until like I swear I stepped back on US soil and like the weight of like, I guess the term hustle culture came back into play. And so I feel hustle culture is just another term for American culture.
That's a good take. So I'm actually going to disagree with my own notes because I positioned it as, is it just an insecurity? Is it just an insecurity in disguise? Like you're trying to compensate for something? But I totally agree with that. Hey, Americans are going to get it done.
Yeah.
And that makes sense when you look at our economy.
Right.
Not to get too patriotic here, but we have some very top performing companies.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about the company that I work for.
Yeah.
I would say and it's different for every company, but I've noticed this going from hourly to salaried, that the notion of lunch breaks, the notion of 8 to 5 is more of a suggestion. It's like a given fact.
For sure.
I don't even remember the last time that I actually took a lunch.
Like a real lunch?
Like
for an hour?
Yeah.
Didn't do anything work related? You stepped away from computers?
Those are so few and far between, especially, and it depends on like the season, because there's like peak seasons and everything like that.
Yeah.
But there's a mindset within American companies where it's go. We got to be as optimal and efficient as possible.
Yeah.
With, running lean headcounts.
Correct.
Which will cause, and we'll get into burnout a little bit later.
Yeah.
But the risk of burnout does not outweigh profit.
No, not at all.
Because most companies are just looking at burnout as just a headcount. Like they can just factor that into headcount.
Well,
It's like X% are going to be burned out.
Yep.
We keep hiring. People want to keep working for us. So, yeah, no, I think that was a really astute observation that he's made.
Well, this is what happens when, we provide segments of things I have no idea what's coming.
Yeah. This one is looking at lone wolf masculinity. So some men, and actually this ties into Liver King, they romanticize like being isolated. I'm going to do it all my own,
right.
by myself, brick by brick. I built this.
That is what.
Exactly.
It got me hyper. It's like,
right. No, get some Denzel.
Right.
So I think that we've talked about it in multiple episodes where you do need that community.
Oh yeah.
So there's a line you have to walk though, because you do need to be a self-starter, but you can't just rely on yourself completely.
Of course.
just tying it in, just looking at it from a work perspective, you have to be able to manage. I always forget this word, starts with a D. It's when you are having other people come in to help you with tasks. It's not depreciate.
No.
It's not deliberate. It's
Starts with a D?
starts with a D. And it's okay that we rest in this silence.
Can we find a synonym? We got to use this word?
I almost had it. It's not deliberate. It's delegate. There we go.
Wow.
You got to be able to.
But we found it. But we found it.
We
Okay.
embrace the silence, because I also noticed that it's
Yeah.
okay in podcasts
To have silence.
have some silence
And have
live in the moment.
and have a co-host let you find where you were going. I didn't hit the fee. I had it, but
And now I lost it.
delegate.
Delegate. Thank you. So
And I'll help you. And then I'll help you bring it back.
so you have to walk that fine line of
Yeah.
of being a self-starter, but also knowing when to delegate, which
Yeah.
is a skill in its own.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's that pause.
There's a pause.
That's okay.
It's fine. I was gonna see if you had any
Well,
any lone wolf material,
don't know.
or if you've seen that. I guess like in your personal life, because of just the nature of
Okay.
kind of what you do. Sometimes I would assume, and I can be wrong,
Okay.
that it's more of that you eat what you kill. You're on yourself on an island all by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Because you saying that because I'm in sales?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You can't have someone help you on your sale.
yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it really depends on the nature of the sales. I mean, B2C is very much you what you kill. B2B, you have a team. There's long cycle, so there's you're filtering information and collaborate. There's more collaboration in that arena. But essentially, that first beginning conversation starter, if you're like on the front end, yeah, it is kind of eat what you kill. 'Cause that's you basically. I mean, that's what you can commission based off of, right? Uh, there is some lone wolf stuff. I don't know. I feel like in sales, you don't kind of look at it as being like a lone wolf. It's just like this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
I gotta grow. If I'm gonna feed myself, feed my family, like I'm gotta put in the time, effort, work on the skill set needed to be able to communicate efficiently to either set something up or close something. It kind of is what it is. But what I do say is like I've been on sales teams, B2C, where it's like they try to build this nature of like, oh, we're a team. And it's like, I'm sorry. I get where you think that we're a team and you'll put our sales all together on a sheet. But realistically, I'm only worried about me.
Yeah.
I can only make as many I can make as only many dollars as I can on my, so no one else does this for me. They don't have these conversations for me saying, hey, this is Ray. Like, no, like I'm the one doing it. And so you do really get into that mindset of, is like, this is all about me. There's no one else really to rely on. And so you just kind of like, you just dive, I don't know, you fall back into the skill set that you have. And then you start to build on some of the weaknesses that you start to point out as you figure those things out as you progress.
Yeah.
But I think in real life, that lone wolf happens, but sometimes it's almost marketed like, it's marketed in a way that it should happen. Like when I think of lone wolf, I almost think of like, sometimes you have to shut yourself off from the world to drown out the noise. So that way you can lock in on whatever is your purpose, figure out exactly who you want to be, where do you want to go. And that's where you kind of set some fundamentals and building blocks of like, okay, this is my projection, but I'm becoming a lone wolf so I can get alignment of where I'm headed. And I think that's sometimes a great time period to bring in God. So but also there's some negatives of being a lone wolf, right? Because a lone wolf then tends to be super isolated, and you end up feel like you have to put the weight of the world's on your shoulders, and it becomes lonely and becomes stressful, extremely stressful.
And there's no guidance for correction.
That's also true, yeah.
Unless you have like extreme self-awareness.
Yes.
You fall very
Susceptible.
susceptible
Yeah.
to going down the wrong path with no one to correct you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you had mentioned kind of like that culture where it's almost emphasized for the lone wolf.
Yeah.
It makes me think back to the church camp days and sorry, and just new Christians in general.
Okay.
There's a not a tendency, but a high likelihood, right? That let's say, dang, I have more water. Let's say that you're new to faith. You make a decision in church by yourself.
Okay.
And you don't know what those next steps are.
Yeah.
Depends on how the church is set up.
Yeah.
You might leave the service and just go immediately home.
Okay.
And if you're a new believer, what are my next steps?
Correct.
Do I just start reading the Bible? Where do I read the Bible?
Right.
How do I understand these verses, these passages?
Yeah.
So that's how do churches address that? Like, I'm even thinking at our own church, I know we have next steps, but do we have someone who walks new Christians through, how to properly understand context of the Bible, or how to, when you're reading text, big word, how to edify when you're going into those passages? That would be an area where the lone wolf mentality would be working against you, because you do need that community to help guide you through.
Yeah. Just to kind of pivot on that, I think that's a moment where maybe within the isolation, having the self-awareness to recognize, to expand on the current knowledge that I have, to seek someone that I know something that I don't. And that's where it's like finding like a mentor. And I think that's kind of like what you're attributing to, is like, hey, who is someone in the church or like a section of the church that they can be mentors to people within their faith?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have something deliberately like that, but it's to me, as you speak it, it's almost feels like a necessity, because as a new believer, like just like you mentioned, like how, not gonna say nerve-wracking, but just like how confusing and I was kind of like, I'm gonna say confusing, but it says you're unaware on which lane to choose. It's just like, okay, do I start reading the Bible? Which chapter which passages do I pick up the Bible app and I just pick up a Bible and just log into a Bible plan and start it that way? But does that help me actually break down the text?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you've talked about this, with me, or in the fact that you could read something, but if you don't understand the time of which we're in, who's speaking, where we are in the setting, like you could totally just miss the concept entirely.
Yeah.
And it's not until that you have someone to like walk you through, like, hey, this is who's speaking, this is who they're speaking to, this is the time period where we are in, that you bring clarity to that whole moment. So
yeah, it's because think of it this way. If you're obviously we're all born into sin. Let's say you are someone who becomes a Christian when you're 28.
Okay.
So you have lived 28 years of your life without that thought of, without this practice, without the practice with Christianity.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense that you would on your own know the right path to take, because you've been living here all these years, and now you're expected, and it's baby steps,
Of course,
but there's such a pull culturally towards this way that you've already been living, that it almost seems impossible to make that jump to here. So it's something that you need to be aware of.
Right.
It's something that, we to our benefit, we live in this age of YouTube and resources. So if someone does become a Christian, you can have those resources, and hopefully when you become a Christian, you are hungry
and you pick the right resources.
Right. You pick, man, it's like mines, because you can find some messed up stuff, some messed up theology.
Right.
Yeah.
Blow up.
Yeah. And so then, before we go into the next topic, how do you know? I think I know the answer. How do you know if you're on the right path?
How do you know if you're on the right path? Okay.
If you are, and hopefully your church is preaching this.
Yeah.
If you are studying and relying on the Gospels, then you're heading in that right direction, because when you are in the Gospel, it demands like a spiritual reaction. Of course, will happen. That's why my favorite time in church is when they start speaking specifically towards the Gospel, because then I know, I'm aware that there are reactions that are about to start happening, because it's almost like your spirit can't not react to the call that the gospel sends out.
Right.
So hopefully churches are preaching the gospel. It sounds counterintuitive, but there are places that don't emphasize the gospel. That's a whole other.
So maybe that's what it is. No, it's to give somebody guidance on like, hey, what's your next step is to seek the gospel and then bring clarity to that, because that'll give you the foundations or a fundamental practice of like, hey, how can you build upon your spirituality? How can you, build upon a relationship with God? Because I feel like new Christians, you're at a really unique place because you haven't been without Christianity. So your faith has not become tempered with. And so at that point, you're just not, for someone who's just like going to church, has always gone to church, but never really built a relationship, like you have to like almost unlearn a little bit. They have to relearn. You have a clean slate to jump off of. Yeah. And so like, I think it's a very unique position to be in. It's also a very good place to be in. So
here's something that I think about often, and it's geared more towards not the new Christian, but the Christian that's been there.
Yeah.
Number one, if we're looking at the example that's given in the Gospels, of what a Christian is, which Christianity is Christ-like, so you're following the teachings of Jesus. Can you truly? This is a question I always ask myself. Can you truly be a Christian in our culture today, in America? Like if we take a step back and look at our lives individually,
right? Yeah.
Are we living to what is being preached in the gospel? And a part of me does think that we're almost so separated from what is being preached in the gospel that we're almost doomed by being in the U.S.
Yeah,
because we're getting away from that message. And I'm not to generalize, but that's just something that I constantly think about. Can we be Christians in 2025? Are we truly Christians in 2025? Or are we gonna, get to the pearly gates and then God says, I never knew you. But you've lived your whole life, well, not your whole life. You've lived the majority of your life thinking that you're a Christian.
Yeah.
So, and then that's another question. So
I've got so many questions. Yeah. So I think, without trying to generalize, it almost seems like that perception is kind of more so to the masses, right? Particularly on an individual standpoint. Would you say that's a fear of yours? That's it. Like, is that a fear of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the sense that we have so many, I guess, advantages you could say of living today and now, that you just get disconnected from what the initial intent was.
Right.
I don't think that it would just be enough to, when you're whatever age, is to just say, you've confessed with your mouth and you believe in your heart. I don't know. It's a deep question.
Okay. I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
Do you think that you can control that narrative within your home and then you build outward?
To that question, I would say, I would ask another question to myself.
Okay.
Is it authentic, or am I projecting to get the outcome that I want from family? Meaning, because that sounded kind of crazy. Sounded a little like psychotic, but hear me out.
Okay.
If my desired outcome is that I want my family to be closer to Christ,
right, as Christ-like
as possible.
Yeah.
Even though I might have doubts that can be achievable.
Yeah.
If I'm, the saying, fake it till you make it.
Okay.
Does that give the outcome that I'm desiring? And then just having that thought, is that the wrong path to go down?
Okay, so I would challenge it. What if you took out the fake it till you make it part out and just left everything out?
That's the thing. That's the other question.
Because is it faking it till you make it? Or is like, this is your best foot forward to try?
But I think here the thing is, okay, so we all have like, let's just say we all have desires, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So your desires might not align with the gospel. That's
Okay.
that's the rest of
That's
it. That's where
sure.
sin comes in.
Yeah.
So what I naturally think too is, okay, this is that natural, like, humanistic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that even in there if I'm trying to align my life with Christ?
Okay.
And so you have that constant pull and tug,
Yeah.
and then you can start to sow seeds of doubt in your own mind, saying, well, if this is the pull, then are you even a Christian?
Right.
That's where it goes, like, back and forth.
Wow.
It's like a deep dive into my constant thought process.
Okay. Who have you brought into this thought process?
Oh, no one.
Okay.
It's just like
So we can maybe start there.
and I don't think that that'll ever go, because I'll get, like, introspective, right?
Okay.
So I think that it just naturally, that's just who I am.
Right.
So that's just a natural thing that I always wonder. Actually, I have posed the question to my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
He's super into scripture.
Good.
And his response was, if you are aligning with the gospel, then you're living by the gospel. Which, that's like the answer.
That's a perfect answer.
Like, you don't have to.
I feel like your faith in Christianity, if it's not simple, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's not hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like the simpler it is, the more real it, at least to me personally, I feel like the simpler it is, the more real it is to me, because I feel like that's how God and Jesus wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't need you to do this, that, and the other and make this complicated or you're confused. I'm going to make this as simple as possible so that it's attainable to follow. Yeah, it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult because, kind of like you said, you're going to have that natural pull to just act out of sin in certain because you have desires. But there's going to be a simplicity to follow me.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing it. I think what Uncle was spot on that first ball. Spot on. But I feel like that's something that we can work on.
Yeah. Well, just for context, it's not like I'm doubting if I'm a Christian.
Yeah. No.
It's just, I like to peel layers back. But you peel layers and ask the questions. It's like, could we be doing more in this?
Uh-huh.
Why aren't you doing more in this? If this, then it's like an Excel formula. Then
this is what I thought. That's honestly, I was going to get where I was getting. I was like, I feel as I'm hearing you, knowing you and your profession, I feel like you're analytically looking at this and you're almost writing your faith towards percentages against the gospel. And it's like, okay, if I only feel like I'm at a 75, then am I even Christian?
Yeah.
Well,
and here's where it comes from. So do you know who David Platt is?
Yes.
So David Platt has a book called It's All In, or Radical.
Okay.
And so when you read through that, when you look at, like, radical, it's not the right terminology, radical Christianity or just Christianity, like, in the gospel, it just looks so different than what we see today. Okay. So that's where the question kind of gets posed when I first read that book when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's more to be done, basically. There's more to be done. And it's good that there's more to be done. We should be striving. We're not at the finish line. So that's where that comes from. But I feel like it's a good, to challenge yourself.
Well, absolutely. Because you're striving for more and you're trying to perfect your faith. And
Without being able to perfect it.
Correct. To understand that you can't be perfect, but you're striving for perfection. And that's where the hidden lining of, like, the question comes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these are all good things.
Dang. I feel like I'm going to need to bust out a towel. It's getting a little...
Bust out a towel?
Getting a little spicy, man.
I'll I have to get out a notepad, man. I'm sorry, write these down.
No, I'm saying it's like hot. Kids, round 2. I feel like because it's stagnant, but it's fine. Yeah. We're able to push on because we got our little fan that is trying its hardest.
Her Arctic air.
It's trying its hardest right now.
Literally.
Okay, so transitioning out of hot takes.
Okay.
Those are some good hot takes.
Yeah.
Get a little engaged.
Absolutely. Got personal.
We will go into our internet deep dive where we're looking at, and it kind of ties into our first hot take here, is productivity, burnout, and the masculinity desire of more.
Okay.
More.
Yeah.
So men, we are doing more than ever, yet we feel less fulfilled. Why? Why do we feel like we have to keep more? And I think you actually touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's kind of that, like, American culture.
American culture again, the saying, keeping up with the Joneses type of thing, always striving for the vehicle, the house, the next promotion,
Yeah.
to feel a void of acceptance or fill a void. I think this is sometimes where you hear, like, you finally you hear it also be said, like, there's a void in your heart, and you keep trying to put tangible things into it that only God can fill.
Yeah. I forgot to read some stats. That was really good. That was good insight. Just real quick, looking at this stats.
Oh yeah.
Rates of anxiety and burnout are rising very fast among men that are under the age of 40.
Okay.
75% of men say that they feel pressure to always to wait. 75% of men say they feel pressure to be always productive.
Mm-hmm.
And then side hustles and self-optimization have replaced rest and reflection for many men.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always like we're trying to, get that next. I'd even tie it to money, or you can tie it to self-worth, which gets into this first point.
Yeah.
Is, has doing more become a substitute for feeling worthy?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Because I mean, I personally can tie my productivity with work.
Mm-hmm.
Either actual work or
Right.
work around the house.
Right. Yes.
To feeling word, like that's almost natural though, in a sense. Like if you're
Mhm.
if you're not doing anything and you're kind of just mooching,
Yeah.
lounging around, as a man, I would expect you to feel like you should be doing more.
Doing more.
That can go back to the days
Mm-hmm.
where the men were out fighting, getting food, providing. Like that
Right.
provider is in us.
Literally.
So when we're not providing or we're not being productive, we're gonna feel a certain type of way. It's like hardwired into us.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like not all men have it hardwired. I don't know, maybe there's a disconnect with DNA. But like,
Sure.
I naturally, like, when I'm one of those people where just like, even I could be at the house and I almost have to feel like there's times where I have to remind myself to like go relax, like just go and like do nothing and just have that time, because there's times where like, it's, I think it's just, it's the nature of today's work is like I think it's also, like I said, nature is time frame and work. You get up, like I said, in your case, your most optimal time to be able to work out is only in the morning. Then you go to work, you get off of work, then you turn into dad, right? And husband. So then you're naturally like helping out with the house, right? Whether that's also house chores, that could be cooking. And then it's like, what else do I have? What else do I have to do? Because like, I feel like what we share is like that servantship. It's like, okay, like I'm either providing in the home at my job, and I'm coming home, I'm either finding things to do to make life for the people that also live here, their lives easier,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm trying to serve all of them because now my role has now changed because the setting that I'm in. But thinking about me as an individual hasn't stopped, you know? I feel like that goes for both genders though, right? For dads and moms, right? Especially for those stay-at-home moms where we all need to find some time.
Yes, because it's constant.
Well, 100%. Well, this is a go, 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 go,
No,
go.
it's constant.
And you need to have that separation. Like I've learned, and this time has been dwindled, but like I'm not a good person. Oh, that's not a really good way to say it, but like I'm not my best self when I have to like transition right back from like work into like father, husband. Like I feel like I need a little window to like decompress,
Yeah.
and then it's like boom, I got what I needed and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, that time frame for my decompression is just truly just dwindling.
Yeah.
And I'm just learning to just work with it, and still be the best of myself without the limited time that I truly know that I need.
When you decompress and you kind of like are doing like a rest or reset, are you doing that? Like, are you doing that with technology?
Mm, it could be. Sometimes it's not. I think it's a combination of the two. It could, sometimes it's like, all right, I'm done with the computer. I could just like, let me just sit here for a little bit. And like even today it was kind of a little bit that, but it's with a little classical music. So it's not like I'm looking at
Lo-fi or like some piano, Beethoven.
I'm on piano.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, it's like, but that's also that's how I operate with that, like something in the background, unless I'm like reading and then I need to comprehend. So nothing was on at that point. But even today, it was just kind of like a little just, and just like I just like let that flow in the background for a little bit. Sometimes it's just like a natural, like, all right, let's take myself to a different world, and I'm scrolling through Facebook for a little bit, which you don't really scroll through Facebook. I mean, you really just get to the videos and just like,
I don't even know the last time I was on Facebook, I'm gonna be honest.
that's all, but it's all I got. So
I get it.
yeah. So I gotta get my fix somewhere,
Yeah.
so it's like that. But I mean, in your case, I know, I mean, understanding your work schedule, like, and honestly, for you, since you do leave the house, and your decompression could be like on the way home.
That's what I was gonna say.
See that
I've been
that's
enjoying,
extremely good.
now that we're returned to office, I've been enjoying the trips to work
Oh yeah.
and then definitely the trips from work. Like
Yeah.
today when I was driving back, normally I always listen to a podcast on the way back.
Right.
But today everything was just go, go, go since like 5 a.m. when I jumped online.
Yeah.
That just drove that 30 or 40 minutes in traffic. No sound, no nothing. And I could just like mentally reset and just focus on the road.
Right.
Get some little like driving, look out for the cops, make sure I'm not getting pulled over.
Sure.
It was a nice little just breath in the day because I know that when I get home, it's going to be boom, boom, boom.
For sure. Yeah. I envy this. I am truly envy it. Because I really wish I had, not that I wish I'd be able to be in traffic, but like I know for a fact, like going to work in the morning for like say, because that 30 or 40 minutes, I would drive in complete silence.
Yeah.
Complete silence. And like, that would be just like, just to be in the moment. Those are moments that, people talk about, hey, you go bring God in those moments and have clarity in relationship and conversation. Yeah. I could plan things out in my head. Yeah. With peace. Yes. But then that ride home would probably be a podcast. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds quite nice.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for a podcast, the Jugo podcast is a perfect one to use into.
I heard they're the #1 multiracial podcast on all platforms right now.
So here's a question that I can't mentally separate the two. How does ambition without purpose? So number one, how can you have ambition without purpose? Maybe this isn't a good question because I don't know if we'll even be able to relate to it.
Yeah.
But how does ambition without purpose affect family, faith, and mental health?
Ooh, I thought I had an answer until you said the last part.
Yeah. Maybe we can skip that one, but I'm just thinking about this question generally. I'm a ambitious person. So like I've said this before, but content, but not complacent. So I'm content with where I'm at, the season, all that, thankful,
right?
All the buzzwords, but I'm not complacent with it. Meaning I got places where I'm going.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, you plan out your long term and
right.
Whatever happens. You're just along for the ride, but
right.
At least those goals are in place. I can see, I'll just flip it on this. How can lack of purpose affect family and faith? I think that would be the question that the people want to know the answer to, which is like an eternal question that everyone probably.
For sure. It's like, how do you know what's your purpose?
Yeah. How do you know your purpose? What is your why?
Yeah.
You gotta figure it out.
I mean, that's only every individual on their own can have to address that question, figuring out really what their why is. I think I'm not gonna say it's easier, but like when you have a wife, you have kids, like naturally they become your why, and then you're always wanting to create a better life than what you had. I think that sometimes that's where that ambition comes from. But kind of like to you, like my ambition has been there from jump. Like pre-kid, pre-relationship, pre-marriage, all that, just naturally ambitious. Just like I'm always like striving to like do better.
Yeah.
Like I think that also like maybe for me personally, like it maybe exists like that's kind of like the athlete in me is like, okay, I remember being bad at something, but understanding like I'm only gonna be bad at it for a certain amount of time because I'm gonna put in the effort, the work to be like a level up in this in that asset. And like I kind of take that as every aspect of my life. And I think that's where the ambition stems into like, how are you going to improve, Ray? How are you going to do this? Like, okay, you're going to figure this out to improve. But to attest to your question, like when purpose comes in, purpose, I feel like purpose and ambition are two totally different things. Because your purpose cannot, something you can be ambitious in a certain aspect of life, but your purpose drives you here.
Mm.
And then if you can connect to it, fantastic.
Yeah.
But sometimes your ambition, your ambitions can be here and your purpose can be over here. And once you get that connection of like, okay, this is my purpose and I can act in my purpose, then it just makes sense to follow down that road. And then at that point, I don't know if it's truly ambition anymore. It's just like you heard the calling and it's like, I now know where my steps in the direction I need to go.
Yeah.
So I think I think now I've never compared ambition and purpose. I feel like they can be together, but I feel like they all could be separate. And I feel mostly your purpose can just drive your feet and you actually don't need ambition anymore. It's almost his ambition.
I think that one thing that stands out there is, and this could happen to some people know their purpose and that's their purpose
Early on.
but your purpose now might not be your purpose then.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're someone who is purpose driven, you just need to have that in mind that, I'll put it this way. The steps that you're taking right now, you might not be walking towards what you have defined as your purpose, but you have to look at all those little minute things that are building you up for what that purpose will be. Someone put it to me this way. When I was contemplating leaving a job, I ultimately left. I quit on the spot, but that's besides the point. I was complaining that, my purpose when I was in high school, and this is still my purpose, was to provide fresh drinking water, specifically in underdeveloped nations. So South America, Africa, that was the purpose. And ultimately I'll have a company that's what we do. We handle logistics. I already have a company name and blah, blah, blah. So I was explaining to him what I identify as my purpose.
Right.
And the job that I was in, I was working at Publix.
Okay.
So I was in the deli slicing up meat and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this does not serve my purpose. What am I doing here? I need to go work for a nonprofit right now. And I need to get in those trenches.
Yeah.
But what he explained to me is that what aspects of your job right now can serve your purpose later on. So those interpersonal skills, which are so important to be able to talk to someone and not spaz out when you're talking to someone, especially working in a deli. Those are leading up to, I don't know, let's say I have to talk to people. Cool. Hey, do you want a well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me provide that for you. Right. Things like that. And the other piece of advice he gave is if you can truly identify that the situation you're currently in,
Right.
does it serve your purpose in any aspects, which would probably be pretty hard to find something that doesn't, then you should look for an alternative.
Gotcha.
But you gotta be we should call this a self-aware podcast. We keep saying the word self-aware. Sure. But have the self-awareness to, okay, is this leading me to my purpose? What can I extract from here that's going to help develop me into who I think I want to become later on? And I say think you want to become because us as humans, it keeps changing. Yeah. We think who we want to be. For sure. And then once you get there, it's like, oh, I had to go through all these crazy things and now I'm here starting from the bottom. So introspective.
Can I ask who said those things to you?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but he was my mom's manager at Geico. I forgot his name. The all black guy.
Speak of wisdom.
I remember I left Polk State College to go meet with him. I set up a one-on-one with him or something. Okay. And I pulled up in my Publix uniform. We just sat down and talked for 30 minutes. And I was like, hey, sir, thank you for, giving me some of your time. Right. And then when I explained that to him, that's when he gave me that knowledge bomb, that wisdom bomb. So that was great. That was great to have that.
Literally though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So question for you, if we want to go into parables right now. Yeah. Or if you want to take a quick heat break and get back to it, or you want to just dive straight into it?
Let's get into parables.
Get into parables. So we are looking at 4 men who faced the purpose test. So we are looking at purpose, seeing these guys that were purpose driven, whatever the case might be. So the first one is Cain, coming out of Genesis 4. So this is about when ambition turns toxic.
Yeah.
So to quickly summarize, Cain wanted recognition, All of us probably do.
Yeah.
But when God favored Abel's offering,
Mhm.
jealousy took over.
Yeah.
His unchecked emotions led to violence and alienation. So just some key things throughout that storyline. Ambition without identity becomes dangerous, obviously. The dangers of comparing can corrupt your calling.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So Cain was rejected. Sorry, Cain himself wasn't rejected. His offering was rejected. That distinction is very important to make. So I'll say it again. Cain was rejected. Say it again. Cain wasn't rejected. His offering was rejected. So the question here is, what happens when your drive is rooted in the need for applause instead of living on mission? And I haven't heard that phrase, living on mission, in a minute.
That is.
Takes me back to First Baptist. Living life on mission.
So I think that's really cool. This is great that you're bringing up this parable because we have in our home we have what we call the Action Bible. Have you ever seen it?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So the cool thing about the Action Bible, it's just it turns the Bible into like a comic book. Turns it into a comic book and just makes it super relatable. It's got like everything that goes throughout the Bible is also like a comic book form, and like you get like the little bubble pop up. So like when someone's talking. So we just with my 7-year-old, we just went over Cain and Abel. So it's our so this I'm like I'm seasoned in this right at this point in time. So this is perfect. But it's to me it's interesting to see what Cain went through. And I think it also comes into play where we speak of like comparisons as a thief of joy, right? Because like that's essentially what happened. Like he compared himself to Abel, and he just felt like almost God like praising Abel and what he was doing. And they said there's the comparison aspect, but then there's also the jealousy. And if you're like, why it's good, it's that why not me? What is it that it's not about me that's good enough? And I think at the time when obviously God just didn't really appreciate his offering because like he provided his offering in an illegitimate manner, and like his heart posture just wasn't postured in the right manner for that to give. And where Abel just, I mean, obviously son of Adam, he just Abel gave to God just as freely as anybody would because he just truly believed with the nature and the good of God, and that's because I was spoken into. And the problem with that, with what Cain steps into play, is that although he heard the exact same thing, he chose to like hear it in a different manner. That like, okay, like God has provided all this good, but why can't there be more for me? And I think so that to me, it's like, okay, well, it's that hidden liner of just like, of woe is me. Why isn't there more for me? And then you attach that to the comparison aspect. And like I said, you channel all this negative energy into, if I can't compete with this person, then they can if to not compete, I have to remove them from the situation. And that's essentially what Cain did.
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you have to that?
I think it reminds me of a story in the New Testament, and it's about how your heart is positioned.
Oh yeah.
So the story is that all these people are like giving to Jesus, like they have all these offerings or whatever the case might be, and this woman gives what would be equivalent to like a penny or something.
That's all she had.
And that's all she had. So she gave with her heart. Like she couldn't even give up the penny. Like it's not like she had money in the bank and she just handed in a penny.
Right.
She gave from her heart, and that kind of speaks to like what you just said. It's where your heart is positioned. Are you giving out of a sacrifice, or are you giving out of a sacrifice, or are you giving out of, well, I have abundance, so I'm just going to give, give you some. I got 50, I'm gonna give you 10, call it even.
Right.
It's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
So I think
back.
the message there is how you have your heart positioned.
Right.
And then the second thing, especially for young men or just young people in general, when you step into the workforce, there's going to be those moments where you do get overlooked.
Yeah.
And you're going to be questioning, well, why them? Why not me? And you do that comparison that we just see in this passage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have this, I have that, I have the experience.
Yeah.
And again, you have to have that self-awareness to know that if it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, you don't have to seek that validation of those next promotions, which has been something that's been particularly very hard for me because I come from an operations background. So in a warehouse, warehouses move very, very fast, very easy to get promotion. And then transitioning to corporate, to get those promotions, you kind of got to either wait for someone to quit, get fired, or die. That's kind of like the motto for corporate.
Yeah.
And so when those small windows of openings do open up and, okay, there's a position available, but you get overlooked, and it is natural almost to be like, to compare. But I would encourage that when you have that feeling, just give that other person, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Mean it. Don't just, don't fake it.
For sure.
You gotta, you have to find it within you to mean that you're happy for this other person to get this opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you know that wasn't for you.
Correct.
So I'm not even gonna stress about it.
No.
I'm in this position. It's like I said, purpose. It's long term. It's short. Life is short.
Yeah.
But this is a long game we're playing.
Correct.
So if I don't get this promotion right now, that's because I'm gonna get more knowledge. And when it's time for that next promotion, you might think you're getting a promotion to, let's say, one level, but because you were able to sit and mature in your position, you get 2 levels of increase because you now have acquired the development that's needed. So it's self-awareness again that this story brings out. Because I don't know too much on the specifics of the offering that's being referred to from Cain, but what crops, okay. But I'm assuming that it's that heart positioning that.
Yeah, it was kind of like you said, like he had, what's it say? He had, I don't know with the right term. Let's call him bushels of crops.
He had them bundles
of crops, and he had 50 of them, and it was like equivalent to like offering God 10.
Okay.
And just thinking like, no, this is enough.
Yeah.
Whereas with Abel being a sheep herder, sacrificing, a sheep, or excuse me, a lamb, and that was that for Abel to then offer that in comparison to like some of the crops of Cain.
Yeah.
It was like, obviously there's a reason why God was appealed to what Abel, did. Yeah. I'm getting my brothers mixed up now.
This would be if we were at church and we were transitioning out of worship, this would be perfect for tithe and offering because it makes me think of.
It makes me think of.
We're almost in auto. It depends on who you are. Not everyone does like obviously the minimum that's discussed is like the 10%, right? Not everyone does the 10%, but if you're someone who does like religiously every paycheck, you're doing your 10%, it's easy to get in that autopilot, especially with auto payments. 10%, boom, 10%. But it's good every quarter, maybe at the beginning of the year. Some people do it with like a Daniel's fast or first fruits is a good one that they do.
Yeah.
Where you're checking yourself and saying, can I go above and beyond where I'm actually gonna feel that offering, that sacrifice. And I guess that's the difference between your tithe and then your offering.
Right.
As I'm saying this, it's making sense. Your offering is that above and beyond. I know that for me, for 2025, I had challenged just my household that we would do first fruits. I kind of just said it to my wife. I didn't like have like a saving plan or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
It hasn't been fulfilled.
Okay.
But we got 6 months left in this year. It's going to get done because I stated it in the beginning of the year.
Right.
So that first fruits, which just for context, if you don't know what first fruits is, that's where you take the first crop yield and give it entirely to God. So in this instance, since we're in modern days and I don't own crops, it would be the first paycheck or the equivalent of the first paycheck. So if your household brings in X, you're giving X.
Yeah.
You're giving X.
Yeah.
Some people do it all at once. Some people might save in the year prior, and then in January they'll give their first fruits.
At the very end. Yeah.
And then some people you're saving all year, and at the end of the year you'll give your first fruits. I don't think we discuss it in our church.
not from the first fruit standpoint, definitely from the tithing
Yeah.
position. I mean, I actually really quick on that. So, because I don't want to say this word intention, but anyways, uh, something that I do because of like the aspect of how easy it is to just put something on auto pay and it just kind of it just goes, you don't even think about it, is that I don't do auto pay.
Do you do it there?
No,
Like in service?
no, I don't.
I thought you were gonna say I bring my check and I hold that bad boy up.
I don't ever touch cash. Never. But so I don't do it there. But like, sometimes I do it there. So because obviously it's connected to the bank account.
Yeah.
But every month I do it manually. But what
What
I
was that intention behind it?
but what I've learned by doing it manually is that I'm constantly thinking of it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do this. And like, boom, I know when to get it done. Boom, I get it done. And I get it done. And it's just, and because I know me because I've also done auto pay. And it's just like, huh, oh, there it went. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And then I get a little,
That's real. That's very good advice. That's very good advice.
yeah. It just keeps it at the forefront. I'll just say that for sure.
All right, let's look at old boy Moses. Called but insecure is this title. So we're looking at Exodus chapters 3-4. Moses had a calling, but he almost walked away from it because of insecurity and fear. Speaking of Moses, you've seen Prince of Egypt?
First of all, if you haven't seen Prince of Egypt, it's the best movie in the American world. I don't know if it was made in what?
I recently rewatched it.
Oh, you recently rewatched? Oh, thank God! I thought you said you just recently watched it, and I was about to turn the other cheek, bro, and come over here because I was like, there ain't no way.
It's crazy that
It was like made the year born.
was it?
It's old, yeah.
But it holds up. It's so good. And they would never. And it's crazy that when you press play, the Disney logo pops up. It's like Disney was making the Prince of Egypt.
Yes.
Such a good soundtrack.
What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. It strayed very far, but
Yes,
such a good movie. It's about Moses. That's why I'm But so Moses, I think I just read this, but Moses had a calling, but he almost walked away from it because of insecurity and fear. I think this is definitely common in a lot of men.
Yeah.
There's confusion. Many men will confuse humility with hesitation. Additionally, God doesn't just call the equipped, he equips the call. I love that saying.
Please say it again.
I should get that tattoo on my little ankle. God doesn't call the equipped, he call. Come on now. I messed up. God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. Meaning,
Love that.
I'm sure there's a great service to go to seminary. You're learning, you're doing your proper steps if that's the path that you want to take. But don't be confused when you see someone that's called by God that doesn't have that same background, doesn't have that same formal education, and they're preaching to the masses.
Yeah.
Instantly, I always think of Paul, whenever this story comes, when he literally is someone who is executing Christians. And on his path to Damascus, he has an encounter with God. He comes down, he blinds him. And the important part there, number one, he wasn't called, Paul was not called to write the majority of the New Testament, right? He's over here killing Christians. As he's walking and he has the encounter, there's a physical change within, he's blinded. So there's a physical change that happens when you have a genuine encounter with Christ. That's such an important piece. Also, going back to the main point with humility and being equipped. I think that because a lot of people, I don't even know if it's a lot, because people in general might not have the background that they think they need. They have that hesitation. They have the hesitation to go into that calling that they might have the stirring for. And I don't know what those next steps honestly might be. Like, let's say you're someone who you feel is called to preach. What do you do? That's a good question. you go to you
You go to school. There's a school for it.
but like that's the whole point. You don't
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't have to go to school.
Okay.
But if you're someone that's not going to school,
Yeah.
you know, I guess you get. No, I take it back. You just start preaching.
Yeah.
If you're called to preach, you just start preaching.
For sure.
You go to a corner and you can start preaching.
Yeah.
You turn on a camera
What did Jesus do?
and you can start preaching. He started preaching.
It's like that. That's a what did Jesus do? Right. That's why he didn't go to school.
Right.
I mean,
Well, no, he did. But he was.
cut that out. Cut it.
It's not real. We keeping it in.
Cut it out the podcast. So yeah, but I mean, no, obviously he went to school and then he learned, but
But he didn't have a degree
But no.
from Lee University.
true, which is kind of like what at that point in time is why because they had their version of it, right, of a diploma.
Yeah.
He didn't go through those steps, which is another reason why they despised him so much.
Right.
Because he's like, you're preaching off like false pretense. Like you're not equipped with the knowledge because you haven't gone through the educational process to speak of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as you were talking to like the construct of what this is, like I feel and kind of also attest to Moses, like he was called to do something that he did not think he was ready for. And I feel like when we take it into the modern world, there's sometimes we get put in positions, whether that's becoming a DAV, whether that's gaining a promotion, whether that's gaining a new job, and then maybe a new industry that you primarily have never worked in before. Like there's so many, there's different like constructs you can create this narrative around of where you're put into a position that you don't have any prior education or any prior experience in. And initial reaction is to feel like this isn't me and I'm going to fail almost. Like, don't call me to this because like I'm not ready to do this. And I think the cool thing about that is because I mean, I'm also another way to say it is like you in those moments, sometimes you can just go off of ambition, but also then you at some point you hit that wall of what is the word? I just had it too. I just had it. It's like and I felt this too. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yes, you fall into imposter syndrome. Like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And why I don't truly know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't. I have I have nothing to lean on to give me some guidance into where I'm heading. And I feel like an imposter in this moment. And I think that, and there's so many different areas, you know, in the modern man where that can show up. And it can feel very, very lonely for however long you allow yourself to be in that position.
Yeah. I think two things there. Number one, when you mentioned that, you know, we have that feeling of fear that because we might not be ready.
Yeah.
I think that you should lean in to that fear.
Yeah.
Because you're not ready. Like going back to Moses, he wasn't ready on his own to lead these people out of Egypt for the Exodus out of Egypt. On his own strength, he wasn't. But with God's strength, he was able to do all these things. But he didn't part the sea on his own. That wasn't him. He didn't cast he didn't cast the plagues on his own. That all comes from God.
Right.
And so whenever you have the imposter syndrome, you shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be there. But by God's grace, that's where we are. When you were saying imposter syndrome, when I took the step from area manager to operations manager, it was incredibly terrifying because I went from having what I knew. So from tier 1 to level 5.
Right.
That's how they do their ranking. I was in one area, the ship dock. So I knew the ship dock. I knew all the metrics. I knew how to succeed with only like 12 people when I needed 18. I knew it. What I didn't know is, I somewhat knew, but I didn't know the entire operation. Like I felt like I needed in order to step into that operations management role. So when I got my promotion, my manager, she called me in and I was about to sign my offer letter. And I looked at her, I was like, do you think I'm ready for this position?
Yeah.
And she looked at me and said, no, you're not. And and she said, I wasn't ready. And Taylor, who was another ops manager, like Taylor, she wasn't ready for the role.
Yeah.
But you're going to grow into it. And
Yeah.
we're not hiring you because you're already there.
Correct.
But you had that ability to
succeed. Yeah.
So yeah, I think lean in when you feel that fear.
Oh yeah.
But don't lean in on your own strength.
Yeah.
You have to know that your strength is going to come from God.
Correct.
And that can get you through, even though the imposter syndrome that you might feel if you're being called to a certain area.
Right.
Maybe you're hiding. Maybe you're someone who's serving at church in a area because you're scared to go into where you think you should be.
Yeah.
That happens very often.
Yeah.
Maybe you're someone who it can be in church, it can be in work.
Oh,
I think that's a super important story to have for the youngins.
Yeah.
And even for the oldens.
For sure.
Just all around. Because as you age, it doesn't go away. I don't think imposter syndrome, I feel imposter syndrome every day. I'm like, I look around in my corporate little office, I'm like, I shouldn't be here. Like, there's people working next to me that are computer engineers from Dell and all these crazy achievements that they've done.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should not be here. But I should.
Yeah.
But I should be there. But yeah, that was, anytime I read that story, that's what I think of.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at Jonathan. We got 2 more.
Okay.
Jonathan was the friend that every man needs. So we're looking out of 1 Samuel 18 through 20. So Jonathan was the righteous heir to the throne, but he chose loyalty to David over power for himself. Mm-hmm. So this is mostly highlighting brotherhood and that companionship, and that real brotherhood isn't competitiveness. It's, did I put covenantal? There's a covenant, I guess, with brotherhood.
Okay. Yeah.
Jonathan celebrated another man's calling. How many of us are celebrating? I just spoke like that. I just touched on. Are we celebrating the wins of others whenever that person is being elevated above you?
Right.
It's these things that are, it's just like,
it's simple things that like
trends.
We see it here, but then it still comes up in the modern world.
Yes.
I
mean, that's the whole point.
Well, yeah.
We can bring it.
We can bring it to him. We can find highlight and correlate things from the Bible and parables to what is modern setting look like for this exact thing. Yeah. And like you said, even when it's someone that you're competing against, or someone who's in the same like you said, going after something and they actually achieve that. Although your outlook was cited on achieving that as well, to be able to highlight that to that person, be like, hey, I'm gonna praise you because you know what, you deserve it. It's not my time yet. And being comfortable with that, hey, my time, it's not my time, it's God's time. And whether that's my next achievement here or maybe somewhere else. But no, understand your blessing is it's depending on your obedience. And, sometimes that also means to be obedient, to be able to feel joy in the other people's achievements.
And you said a buzzword that just sent me down a rabbit hole, blessing.
Oh.
So you have to at the end of the day, you have to strip away all of these material things.
Okay.
Strip away the position you have. Strip away all the championships that your high school football team won. It's a blessing in itself. Number one, that you're here, but number two, that you have the ability to depart from sinful nature and have everlasting life with Christ. Mm-hmm. That in itself is the blessing. I feel like once you understand that, you can kind of, because it's not, you can detach yourself from the rat race. You can, because you're not tying yourself to these material wins.
Right.
It's like, I've already won lasting life.
Correct.
I don't have to keep building and building to, I'm going to build up these riches, and then what? I'm going to die, and they're going to,
nothing you can't,
government will seize it, or whatever the case might be. You got to pay taxes on it. So when you can identify and separate that your blessing is not in these material things, that is how you can pursue. So a modern tie-in, another modern tie-in, because we've been talking about modern tie-ins all podcast. Do your friends, this is for you and you,
Okay.
do your friends push you towards purpose or compete with your growth?
He would have to be the first. I don't think with some of my closest friends, the conversations that we have, like where we're going in life, there has never been, at least on my end, have I felt there's been an aspect of competition. There's always been kind of like that brotherhood and almost like you said, covenant to be able to like, yeah, man, that's awesome. Hey, I love what you're doing. Like, hey, let's keep continue. Kind of what's your next move? What's your plan? And, is there anything to help? And it can mean, anything that we can do,
Yeah.
So, and it's things like that. There's being spoken over my life and kind of I've spoken those over their lives that I personally have never genuinely felt like, hey, there's been like some source of like envious nature to like create competition to where we are in life.
Yeah.
Because we're all walking our own walk and like you're just doing something different than I am, where and what that might look like.
Yeah.
So personally, it hasn't happened to me.
I think this situation, when it occurs, it's easy to feel that enviness or competition.
Yeah, yeah,
But like for me instantly, I was able to check it real quick.
yeah.
When you meet someone who is living and doing the exact thing that you think that you should be doing, it's so hard not to be, dang, I want to do that. But okay, I approach it in a sense, not like, oh, well, they shouldn't have it. I shouldn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should have. It's definitely like, oh, that's so cool. I want to, like, that's what I want to do. That's cool. Let me learn from you.
Like yours is transitioned to the genuine interest.
Yes, and you said it in one podcast. You said it's intention into. I literally just made a TikTok about it. You have to turn intention into. Okay, I won't dwell on it, but so there was a situation where when we moved out to LA.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I need to give the context to what I wanted to do.
Yes.
So it would be a dream if I was able to create meal plans and workouts for people and just live off that. That'd be like awesome. We're just working out and eating food all day long.
Right.
So when I moved to LA, I met two guys that is what they did.
Yeah.
When I got to know them, I was like, hey, what is it that you do? Oh, I make meal plans and I do workout guides for people and making great money off of it, living life.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Easy to have fallen into like that enviness,
Right.
like, well, XYZ, I've been putting in the work and all these things. It didn't turn out like that for me.
Right.
But I think that in that situation, it could, if you don't check yourself. I don't know where I was going with it.
I think to just kind of piggyback on it is this. I don't know. It would be odd. I think just with your ability to even check that, but I don't even know if you really truly have to check it because it's not in you.
Me personally.
To you personally. And like I can say that is not me either. Yeah. Like and my initial reaction too, because obviously similar, so we have some like, similarities. I would have been genuinely interested. Okay, like let's take a step back. Like walk me through like how you guys started. Was it like one particular person approached you? Like, hey, you started on this, and you just was it like was you like word of mouth? Like exactly how you get started? This genuine interest because like okay, if someone because my mindset transitions to if someone could do it, then I could duplicate it.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, why not me? Is
Why
my
like why not? I was like, you could do it. Bro, I can do it. I can do it. Just give me a blueprint and I can duplicate that. I did. So now I'm more interested. Like, okay, what steps were taking place? Who mentored you? Right. Right. If you're a position to where I can take mentorship from you, like, how do I create this nature of communication to like start driving that forward so I can start gaining the knowledge? Yeah. And I just really feel if it's not in you and for that reaction to come out to automatically just dive into envy and jealousy and it's more genuine interest, like it's just not in you. Yeah. But I understand it. I mean, the whole aspect of why the word envy is real is because there's people that have that deep within them. And I think if that is you, then yes, it needs to be checked. But I feel like there's a deeper line to why it's there. Yeah. I think
are you compensating for
correct. Yeah. Yeah. What are you compensating for? And that could be a place to start within like conversation with God. It's like, hey, I could, again, having self-awareness, like, hey, I'm driving in comparison and envy with individuals. Hey, where does this, God, where does this stem from? Like, what is it so that I can truly, instead of replace envy, in place of love and grace, so that I can appreciate these people's wins, like we've been talking about, but then also have intention behind the way we communicate so that I can gain something from these, not like manipulative,
Right.
but like in a productive manner.
Yeah.
Because that's the direction I want to go,
Yeah.
you know? But
Oh.
I think that's probably where you were going with it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm glad that you were able to
Well,
pick that up.
I'm picking up what you put.
Going into the touchdown zone.
There you go.
But I would also say, and this might not be super common for men, but
Okay.
if you always find that in your friend groups that there's an issue, like if there's always an issue, it's probably because you're the issue. Like you might be leaning toward, like you said, that it's not in you. Like the enviness might be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
If you're noticing that there's always issues with your friends, or you might be that person that is viewing it as competitiveness instead of the covenant, that brotherhood.
Got you. Yeah. Again, self-awareness. We ain't gonna figure do it because of self-awareness.
I need an AC unit. That's what I need.
But that's self-awareness.
Okay, so this is our last parable.
Okay.
Look at Solomon. Wisdom, wealth, and the trap of excess.
He had it all.
Looking at Ecclesiastes 2. So Solomon had everything. Wealth, women, interesting to that. Wealth, women, power, but declared it all meaningless. See, this would be good. When I just read that, it instantly made me think of Tate.
I knew you were going to say that because I'm like, this goes back to our previous podcast, and we were talking about that, not the masculinity. What was the thing that we talked about?
I know what you're saying. The alpha male.
The alpha male. And honestly, the one thing is he legitimately had it all. And like, again, he deemed it meaningless.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part we don't get. The alpha male doesn't talk about what it actually means. It just shows you everything that you think you need.
I think a good tie in there is purpose requires more than success. It requires surrender.
Oh, I was going to say sacrifice, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. And I
surrender. Yeah.
I mean, Solomon is well, I don't want to say good because he had the wives stacked up, but it's a good example where you can see that like the humility comes through, leaving it all meaningless. And not to rehash what we literally just said, but when you can tie that into, you have the promise of eternal life, the wealth and the riches just fall to the wayside. So
yeah.
Modern tie-in for us to ask ourselves honestly is, are you fulfilling your life or fulfilling your calling? Number one, do you know your calling? That's where you have to start. You got to work backwards.
Yeah.
Do you know your calling?
Right.
If not, you got to know your calling.
For sure.
Are you working towards that?
Yeah.
Or are you just filling your life with the meaningless things that aren't going? So another way, a good way to, are you fulfilling your calling? Or are you, okay, I was trying to do a play on words. It didn't work.
Okay.
Didn't work out. I'll just go back to the original. Are you filling your life with these small trophies that are going to leave you empty?
Yeah.
Or when you can step into that calling, you're able to be fulfilled. And I do think that as Christians, our calling is, and this is why I go back to, are we truly Christians in 2025?
Yeah.
Because the declaration that Christ makes before he leaves is, go therefore and make disciples of all nations.
Right.
So if we're not doing that as Christians, are we Christian? That's the question. That's the root of the question that I always battle.
Yeah.
If we're not declaring to all the nations, are we truly Christians? But how I segued into that is, as a Christian, that is the calling, right? So outside of that, it would be hard to, you have to, I don't know how you would identify
Yeah.
your calling as Christians, and we have that.
Yeah.
Sticking with Christianity, because that's like the podcast.
Mhm.
Can your calling be different than your purpose? I think yes.
Okay.
Like we're called to be like Christ,
Okay.
but we could have purposes that align to the vision of Christ. Does that make sense?
Interesting. I would say they're one and the same.
Yeah, I think that like if you built this out on a chart,
Right.
it would just lead into itself.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you had your if you're able to identify your purpose,
Start by going down your calling. Will lead you to your purpose.
I'd almost say sometimes because I feel like that's a big that's a common question that people are like, well, what do I do? How do I find my how do I find my purpose? Like, what's a calling? And like the natural answer to that is like, okay, then you give this to God so He can speak to you in a manner to help you identify what your purpose is.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're able to declare what your purpose is and starting to walk that out, you naturally step into your calling.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's a point where they separate and they meet. Like I think you would just wise up. I think it's linear. Like, yeah, this one solid line. You identify your purpose, and walking in obedience towards your purpose, you naturally unfold, like create your calling. Like that is that,
And vice versa.
and
By walking in your calling, you're stepping into your purpose.
stepping into your purpose. Right. Exactly.
Because if you think like, let's say you're okay,
I think it's better. It almost works better that way. Like
calling into purpose.
drives purpose.
Yeah. Because in almost every aspect you can tie the purpose into the calling
Right.
of a Christian. So
Right.
let's say you volunteer at a soup kitchen
Uh-huh.
in high school, and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, my purpose is to help the
Yeah.
homeless
Absolutely.
and give.
Yeah.
That will lead you to going to the nations and discipling. Like that leads you into the caller.
Exactly. I mean, and kind of like how you tested too. Like, what is like if it's there, right, in high school, serving as far as like to the homeless, like who's to say like I've identified my calling now within utilizing your work experience in different areas to benefit, certain interpersonal skills. What if that leaves that person to like start a nonprofit?
Yeah.
And then now that their purpose is driving this nonprofit, which also aligns with the calling to still give back,
Right.
in whichever form. In yours, it could be water.
And water. Here's a question, and we can kind of just leave this hanging in the air, where we can discuss it.
Okay.
It popped in my mind as we're talking about it.
Okay.
It's interesting that, so I mentioned calling, we just talked about purpose.
Mhm.
There are, obviously, we're not blind. There are other ideas of religion.
Yeah.
When those people that are in those religions are, I guess the point I was looking at is, how do we address if someone's idea of their calling isn't necessarily what we have framed as a Christian?
Mhm.
So let's just use a common one. If you're Muslim,
Okay.
your calling technically isn't to bring people towards Christ,
Right.
but you could have the same purpose of helping needy,
Right.
of helping the needy, helping the homeless.
Right.
That's like a mind-bending question, I guess. That's like I don't think it negates the purpose that the person has for helping the needy.
Right.
It's just what happens when your calling is misaligned.
For sure.
Because now in this situation, it's not linear. And when I say not linear, I'm referring to the true calling of leading others to Christ.
Yeah.
If you're not a Christian, then you're not abiding by that. So now your purpose has diverged from calling.
I almost feel like in circumstances like that, when your calling is misaligned, that's when our equation flips around, where we've been talking about purpose leads into calling. Whereas if you identified your purpose, now your calling will drive towards that.
But what happens when that end calling isn't? So, okay.
Because
So I'm baselining it as
Yeah.
the true calling for humans is to grow near to Christ.
exactly. So if you switch that, and then instead of not having that your calling, but you identify that as your purpose,
Yeah.
then your calling will still be in alignment with your purpose. Because now your purpose is, and you've identified, my purpose is for me to be most like being Christ-like. And if we use our primary example, just like helping the needy, my calling is still staying in those soup kitchens. Because I identify my purpose is still be Christ-like. And what did Christ-like? He gave back to the needy, right? Within time and resources.
Oh, I see. Okay. Are you taking it, by saying that, are you meaning that just like all humans have the need or the desire to praise something? So it's like that innate, they don't, people might not understand that their calling is leading them to the true calling. It might be a calling that they think it is.
Right.
But if you zoom out, it's that actual calling. I'm saying calling a lot.
But I think that's right. I think that's not really where I was going, but I can see where you're going. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing to talk about, because I feel like, what if that's actually what's truly going on? Because we sometimes we see like, oh, I'm not a Christian, I'm not this, I'm not that, but I'm spiritual. You believe in something. There's a calling for you to feel, to like have faith in the supernatural, but yet you don't want to address exactly what that is, right? Or you feel like you can't. What if, in essence of like, hey, people who also have different walks of, different walks of faith, and the spiritual thing is because within all of us, we all have that same tie to a calling that's familiar in all of us. And that's because we have one true God. Right.
Perfect.
I had no idea if I'm going in the right direction.
No,
but I think it makes sense.
No, it does. It's like,
Yeah.
When you baseline your truth.
Okay.
So humans have a baseline truth of Christ.
Okay.
Irregardless of what you might think the truth is.
Right.
You're being pulled towards something that you don't understand. Yeah, here's what the baseline truth is, and you think your calling is over here. But in reality, it's the same thing, and you might not ever fully realize the baseline truth. Which, I mean, that's a discussion in itself. Correct. But it's all it's like a black hole. It's all pulling towards the exact same baseline truth. That was a fun thought experiment.
That was critical thinking in action.
That was good. That's gonna get clipped. I'm clipping that.
Okay, we should.
Because that's like, watch in the clip, it's gonna be like, like when you know those memes where you think like I'm cooking on this, cooking on this topic, and we rewatch it and it's like, okay, what you just said theologically makes zero sense. You actually need to shut down your podcast.
Right. You're steering people in the wrong direction. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that we can start to at least wrap up here with some reflections that purpose isn't just platforming. That we gotta wrap up. Last thing I'll say for platforming is, I didn't want to go into it. I was gonna start talking about when people at certain churches, they try to get on stage to be on platform. When that's not the intent at all.
Of course not.
Anyways, we get sidetracked here. Purpose isn't about platforming. Brotherhood isn't about convenience and ambition. It's a gift, but only when it's grounded in something eternal, that baseline truth. So we shouldn't settle for just a busy life when God is inviting us to a purposeful one. Purpose.
Literally.
Sweet. So that's where we can end it right here for this episode. We didn't even address this. We're on episode 5.
Damn.
Episode 5.
This is monumental. Okay, this is super monumental because obviously we've learned so much about just the highs and the lows that we've had, or just sometimes being overly nitpicky on things that we don't like, whether it's lighting, whether it's our voices, whether it's
Heat,
attire, whether it's heat, and all this to say that we've been trying to get to this point, and being nitpicky is okay. Having self-awareness, helping yourself, is striving for more, wanting to be great, want to have some professionalism and perfection around all of this, and knowing that if we're able to get to this 5th episode, that we've literally accomplished something that 90% of people that start podcasts don't normally do. So I know you addressed this, and then I've kind of ran with it. I was like, hey, we get to episode 5, like all the things that we're going to learn. it's literally going uphill from here. Like we're not stopping. This is all gas, no brakes.
There you go.
You're like, we needed to get this, and this is almost like us pulling back on David's slingshot to now keep launching us forward into obviously the many episodes to come. So this is a big win. Like
You should have brought the Martinelli
we should have brought a Martinelli
next time.
next.
10. That's a big one.
10's gonna be a big one as well. We have to keep some monumental moments for these episodes, but we're just gonna keep continuing bringing you guys just so many great biblical meanings and parables and all these different male archetypes and we can correlate to the common world or to the modern world, to the modern man. And we just appreciate you guys for tuning in, watching, like, subscribe. We gotta do all that stuff. But either way, listening to the Jugo. We've got so much content coming your way. This is literally this is the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg.
Okay? So, man, if that's what it is, we're going to lead out with our theme song. And it's going to be playing. It should be right.
It's already playing.
It's already playing.
It's peaking right. It's singing right there. What he's right here.
All right, though.
That was sick.
Okay, we could definitely edit out this stupid peace sign with letting nerds. I don't think we can buy it. I was like, I don't want to do it with my hands. Peace. I'm going to age this.